Hello. Welcome to Cold Brew
Cold Brew got me like.
the Twitch television show. More popular than the Friends reboot. And if you are listening to this on, wait, do I have to do that again, or can we tack on the audio now? Okay, well, yeah. Okay, so if you're listening on, okay, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, you already heard the instructions on how to get these videos. So welcome to Cold Brew Got Me Like, the Twitch television show, more popular by a long shot than the Friends reboot. And Greg Crofton, welcome Greg Crofton, my brother, sitting in front of his traditional Raiders background for reasons unknown to me, cold brew reasons.
Hello to all my fans out there.
Welcome to the Power Directors. Welcome to the Gimlins in the chat. You may notice, Gimlins, Power Directors, that we are now Twitch affiliated. I didn't read any of the contracts, so I don't know what it means. But I think it means that we are, I don't know, like you get,
we're climbing the ladder.
We can get subs. You can get subscribe. You can subscribe now. So please subscribe, and then I don't know. You get emojis or something. Like I don't know. We get canaries. Do you have a longer clip of that, Eric, that you can play of Jimmy Valiant talking about canaries? Is that all we got? We don't have anything with him talking about hitting people with sticks.
Brother, I've been hitting people with sticks my whole life. Canaries.
Okay, there you go. So that's Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, a wrestler from the 1980s, calling dollars canaries. If you've seen the show before, you know what we're talking about. But there was some contest where the Great Kabuki had a kendo stick, and he said if anybody hit him with the kendo, if anyone was able to hit the Great Kabuki with a kendo stick, he would give that person $100. And then Jimmy Valiant was like, I've been hitting people with sticks my whole life because I'm from New York, whatever that means. And then he said, I'll hit you 100 times for 100 canaries. And that was when he introduced, I was watching wrestling late at night one night, and I heard Jimmy Valiant refer to dollars as canaries. And that's why I talk about canaries. That's why that button says canaries. Make it say canaries again, Eric.
Canaries!
Thank you. Eric, welcome to Eric Wilson. Also, Eric Wilson is the technical director. He's behind the curtain.
Say hello, Eric.
Hello all.
Thanks. Look, that was Eric. That's Eric. And then my name's Chris Crofton, and I got my Boz Skaggs hat on. My friend Christy gave me a Boz Skaggs hat. It's pretty cool.
I've got a theory about the affiliate program.
Oh, yeah. What about the affiliates? Oh, look, they're using emojis already. the chat's gone crazy. They're using emojis.
No, I don't believe it.
No, look at it. They're sending red things, big things. What? Oh, my goodness. All right. For those of you listening on the podcast, you can't see the chat room right now, but it's exploding with beautiful colors. The colors of affiliation.
Communication just went up 100%.
Unbelievable.
Cold Brew got me like.
I was just going to say that it's a sign that Jeff Bezos approves of what we're doing and that we may get rewarded with some free shipping, maybe.
I don't want free shipping. I want cold brew. Does Jeff Bezos make cold brew, that bald-headed geek?
We better watch out. That bald-headed geek can strangle you.
He can't. He's too busy on his. He's on a helicopter or something. He's not watching this.
He's too busy getting stem cell treatments.
You bald-headed geek trying to get stem cell treatments to get some hair to grow on that light bulb. We got your number, Bezos.
He bumps into Mel Gibson wherever he goes. Mel, what do you do? Oh, you're always, yeah.
Well, I think celebrities always do run into each other. Like they're Turks and Caicos most of the time.
And they're at the stem cell clinic. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, at the stem cell, wherever. Yeah, they run into the same people. It's like J-Lo and Bruce Willis and and George Clooney and John Cougar Mellencamp, and that was Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall's probably there. Turks and Caicos. How many people in the chat have been to Turks and Caicos? Look at the chat's going crazy with. I wish you could see people watching on YouTube, or not on YouTube because you can see it. People listening on Spotify and Spreaker. I wish you could see the chat. Looks like a beautiful flower garden since we became affiliates. Looks like a flower garden full of money and subs. Pretty soon we leave all this behind and I can start getting stem cell hair replacement. So today we're going to talk about, I wonder if anyone's wondering about, I did not go to Disneyland.
I was wondering about that.
I did not go. What are those emojis they're putting up there? Someone just put up 5 squares or 5 letters or something. What is that? What are those? I can't see. Let me put up some glasses.
Eric, what's he seeing?
They're rainbow flags.
Oh, okay. 500 million yacht. How do I get the emojis? Okay, anyway, I'm not going to engage with the chat this time. We got Eric's going to be on the chat. So if we check in with you guys, we're going to have Eric tell us what you're saying. Pretty exciting, huh? So anyway, I didn't go. What's that?
I was just going to say Kill Shrednar gave us what appears to be a red human butt emoji.
See, we've made it. This is success in the modern world. As I've said before, this is not what I thought it would look like. When I dreamt of success, it had nothing to do with giant red virtual butts.
So anyway, what was Disney World not like? I mean, I thought, why didn't you go?
I just, at the last minute, I already had a ticket, and I felt terrible guilt canceling. And I talked to a few people on the phone about the possibility of canceling. I was just tired, and I did not want to go. And I was not going to be doing acid. And it was a 14-hour day. And I've done acid before. So when you do acid, 14 hours blows by. So I understand why they want to go for 14 hours. But the bus left. They rented a van. I was supposed to be on the van at 7:30 in the morning. No, 7 o'clock in the morning. And which is already like just, I mean, I don't want to get up at 6:15 to get there. In Los Angeles, it's going to take a half hour at least to get there. So I'm going to get up at 6:15. And then they scheduled the pickup from Disneyland for 9:30 at night. So if you're on acid, I get it. On acid, that's a great time frame. But for a sober person, forget it. There's no way. I mean, just not a chance, And I can't do acid. I thought about doing acid, and I just can't do it. They were like, maybe you could do a little bit of acid. And there was no pressure from them for me to do acid. So I'm not trying to say they were peer pressuring me. But they just said, maybe you could do a little teeny bit of acid. But I realized, as I said on the Daily Zeitgeist, and as I maybe have said on this show last week, I'm not sure, but I would see capitalism everywhere. I would have a negative view. Acid would give me a very bad view of under the hood of Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would just see the inner workings of Disneyland, and any pleasantry or any fun I would have would be undermined by the fact that I would be constantly thinking about late stage capitalism. And, don't try and trick me with your giant teacups into thinking anything's normal. You know what I mean? Like, good. We have the world's worst lifestyle in America, and in return, we get giant teacups. Fuck you. So I didn't want to put myself through that, and I didn't want to put anybody else through it either. But you know what I mean? I mean, it's just like, and if I would love to go to an amusement park, like an old school amusement park, like a fair. A fair came to town.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how far were you from the park? How long of a drive was it? And what did you do about the ticket money? Did you just say it was better than unspent?
I canceled it, which was a hellish nightmare of joining Disneyland apps, and in order to cancel it, you basically had to write a self-addressed stamped envelope to Mickey, saying you were sorry. You didn't. It wasn't that bad, but you did have to. I did join an app. It took me like a half an hour to figure out how to cancel my reservation. And I'm not exaggerating. It took me a half an hour of pressing buttons to try and figure out how to cancel my reservation.
It's designed that way.
And that's supposed to be easier. That's supposed to be the age we live in, where everything's easy. It only takes 98 passwords and 300 button pushes till you find out how to fucking say you don't want to do something.
Right. Jeez, that's the truth.
So you're trying to make a boundary. I'm trying to make a boundary. I'm in therapy learning about boundaries. And even to draw this boundary, I almost had a nervous breakdown. I was sweating all over my phone. Disneyland apps looking all whimsical. I'm sweating. I'm upset, and Disneyland app just keeps going like, do you want to add a hotel room? Like it was easier to add a hotel room than it was to cancel my reservation. Long shot. They're like, there are a million things I could have done that were really easy to find. Like trying to cancel your reservation was like a needle in a haystack. But if I wanted to get like my own paddle boat to ride around, I could have done that for like $190 for 20 minutes.
And that's the crazy thing. I used to, when I was in journalism school, and I would ask the head of magazines, like, why do they put all the magazine ads in one place? And he was like, what do you mean? They don't do that. How there's like a well of ads, but they would designed to be like where you make the money. And I think that people at Disney World and different corporations will never acknowledge that they make it very difficult to get out of anything. Like there's no one person that's going to say, oh yeah, I designed it that way, but they all design it that way.
Oh, you mean they'll say it's like, it's mostly, we design it so it's easy to use, but it's really designed to.
It's really designed to like you can't cancel your Facebook. There's no way to delete your Facebook. It takes about 85 buttons. I mean, they'll claim that they have no idea that it's that difficult. So I want to know like the people that actually are in charge of that shit, because someone's in charge of it. They're not allowed to talk. They won't
interview anybody like that. No, they'll interview their like messaging guy, and he'll say like something like, "We try to help everybody."
Yeah,
we try to help everybody here. We're just trying to make everything better, and we're just constantly working toward that. Okay, cool, but how do I cancel my fucking reservation for this thing? And I don't want to rent a catamaran either. They're like, well, you're very angry. Don't worry. Just take a deep breath. The app is designed to help you.
This is how evil capitalism has gotten to me. It's like you can't even. It's just a big trick now. It's like, yeah, it's a trick. You ask for an air conditioner, you're also going to get a furnace. It's a package
do you need
deal.
An air conditioning holder? Do you need a tripod for your air conditioner? I don't think so. Maybe I do. What is one? Oh, wait a minute. And then you get ads for tripods for the rest of your life on targeted ads. I don't know if I'm getting targeted ads for Disneyland, but I bet I am. I've been so depressed since having to interact with that app, I haven't even looked at my computer. So I don't know. I could be getting targeted ads for Disneyland.
It's a cloak of darkness. That's the only way I can describe it. And no one's responsible for it, but it's highly effective.
Can you hit the cold brew got me like button, please, Eric?
Cold brew got me like.
Can you hit the metal one, please, for the cloak of darkness?
Brew got me like.
An old slogan we used to do on the old Chris Crofton show. I used to say, "You got to find this shit out, fools." After something like really good that somebody said, so that's what I would say for Cloak of Darkness. I would say like, "You got to find out about the Cloak of Darkness, fools." So I might start doing that on this show. Here's what's disheartening about the emojis. Like, for people listening to the podcast right now in the emoji section, it looks like somebody's waving 5 white flags, which looks a lot like surrender, which is not inspiring. It looks like they're going, help, help. So anyway,
Eric, what's going on in the chat room?
Yeah, Chris, I think those are pride flags.
Well, that's nice.
Correction.
So it's a celebratory thing. It's not. They're not saying help, help. I'm trapped on cold brew. Got me like.
I don't know what the fact that those flags are white says about you, but
Right. No, I'm just thinking about. It just looks like help.
Excuse me.
Gym City Record Collector says, at least you didn't have to try to cancel your reservation to Disney while on acid.
I would have got. Yeah, that's a good one. That's true because that would have made me really mad.
Aunt Kath says, I went to a trade show at Disney World in 2012, and I still get mail from them to stay there to this day.
Wow. So that's 9 years. Well, yeah, that's the beauty of algorithms. You don't have to even do anything. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Or I think that's an algorithm, right? I mean, once you turn on an algorithm, don't they just keep doing the same thing over and over again? Like if you have an algorithm that says send people emails about Disneyland, it's not going to stop doing that. Or is that just called an email machine?
Well, no, she said mail. I was thinking it was just mail.
Well,
you know how we, at our house in East Nashville, we still get mail from Scientologists who lived here at one point about 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, Scientologists. Man, they don't ever, ever, ever stop sending you mail. You could be dead for 20 years and they'll send you mail. The people who lived in our house. I mean, we've lived in our house for 16 years, and they still send mail to the woman who one time must have gone into a Scientology center. I mean, they still send her letters like you're not interested anymore. Like, you sure you're not interested in Scientology? Whoever you are from 19 years ago. So anyway, yeah, Gem City Record Collector. Like, if I was on acid and I was even looking at what I'm looking at right now, I would flip out. Like, if I was looking at my phone, just my regular phone on acid, I would flip out. Like, if I was looking at a microphone that looked like this on acid, I would have a nervous breakdown. I'd be like, what the fuck has happened to my life?
Right. Yeah, you need your defenses up.
Yeah, exactly. You need your defenses up. That's exactly right. You cannot be walking around on acid in this culture right now. No way. What if you run into an anti-masker and they trick you into thinking what they're thinking is right? If you're on acid, you might even get confused. Next thing you know, you're an anti-masker. Can't take any chances. You need your defenses up. Can't be taking acid. When you're on acid, you consider everything. At least me. I'll consider any point of view, no matter how deranged.
Yeah, Disney probably has a fertility clinic now. You get sucked into there.
Yeah. Fuck, I took a wrong turn at Disney. I ended up donating sperm. What the fuck? For their mouse colony? What the fuck does that mean?
We are.
And I had to pay them, too.
Do I want to donate sperm for $15? I guess so. I wish I wasn't on acid. Yeah, I mean, who knows what they make you do? You probably end up with
the executives are like, oh, we're even making money at the fertility clinic.
Do you want to join the mouse gym? You want to work out with Pluto while you're at the Disney Village? Would you like to have a personal training session with Pluto for only $800? You can do it on a payment plan. I guess so. Just press here and you say yes. That's the thing, is they can even do that. They'll be like, just press here. You don't have to even feel like you spent any money. That's like when our dad spent like our entire family fortune on, which was not huge, on like iTunes, just because he couldn't see the money. He couldn't see the money going away. I mean, I'm not kidding. From 2003 to 2009, I think my dad spent like $45,000 on iTunes. And as far as he's concerned, he didn't spend any money. He's just like, I'm just hitting these buttons. I didn't spend any money. They never asked for any money. All right, so we got a show for you too today. So welcome to Cold Brew Got Me Like. If you've never been here before,
Cold Brew Got Me Like.
Subscribe, and then you get emojis, and who knows what's up. This thing is just taking off. You're just right in on the ground floor of this skyscraper. We're just building it up. I'd say we're on the 3rd floor right now, and we're going up to Dubai heights. So we're going to have field trips.
We're working on our custom blended tequila.
yes, we're gonna have a custom blended tequila. We're gonna have field trips to Disney. We're going to do acid, and we're gonna rebel against Disney. We're gonna have a strike against Disney, not as employees, but just as the general public. We're gonna strike against the values of Disney.
Are you drinking actual cold brew there?
This is cold brew, yeah.
Is that your favorite, Stumptown?
No, this is Califia. Califia.
Califia. You got it the second time.
Are you sure it's Califia though?
It's like California.
That up?
I read the website. Okay, California.
I love having arguments. Cold brew got me like having an argument on cold brew.
Cold brew got me like.
So this is Califia concentrate. Okay, so today's show.
You cut it though, right?
Oh yeah, with what? Yeah. So today's show is it's going to be about bowling. It's going to be about professional bowling. I was up last night after work, just looking at bowling, vintage bowling on YouTube, and then I kind of was looking at I was looking at the origins of bowling. And it turns out that there was some kind of bowling called action bowling that preceded professional bowling. And action bowling was like a big deal in the 60s and the 70s. But I think even the 50s, like the 50s and the 60s, action bowling. And just to be clear, everybody who's in the chat and stuff and everybody listening at home, like bowling, you know, like a bowling ball, just regular old bowling. But there used to be some kind of bowling called action bowling, which I did not know about. And I asked if Greg would be nice enough to tell us about action bowling, which is just basically gambling, but it was high stakes gambling that went on all night.
It was also like, you know, kind of like early NASCAR, right?
It was like early NASCAR. Like NASCAR came out of just drunk guys racing cars on like ovals that they built in their yard in, you know, Alabama or Louisiana or whatever. And just you know, pre-internet fun, you know, just like people just like passing the time. Let's race our cars. We got these cars. I like building cars. Let's go out and race them around. Let's get drunk and race. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. But then gradually, I don't know who probably said, like, let's make some money off this. We should get somebody some Jeff Bezos type character came along and said, hey, I can put this in an arena and charge money and take a big chunk of it. So, what's his name? All the early race heroes. What's the really famous one? Not the one who, not Daryl Earnhardt, but not Dale Earnhardt. The other one. The real famous one with the mustache, Richard Petty. Yeah. Richard Petty, like he came off that circuit. I think Dale Earnhardt Sr. also came out of like actual, like backwoods Southern, homemade, you know, and NASCAR originally came from fucking bootlegging. People would soup up their cars to fucking run away from the police, and then they started racing those cars. It sounds insane, but that's real. So like, but bowling, who knows where bowling started? You know, I don't know where bowling in general.
No, it's in this article too. I mean, let me talk about that. Bowling mostly originated in Germany around 300 AD as a religious ritual in which participants would roll stones at clubs to absolve their sins
and eat snacks.
The annals of history reveal little about where or how bowling gained traction, but according to written record, the sport was so popular in England by 1336 that King Edward III had to ban it to keep his troops focused on archery practice.
Oh my God, that's what I'm talking about. Oh my God. I didn't even see that part of the article. Holy fuck.
Cold brew got me like.
Cold brew got me like,
man. Hit that heavy metal one. Why do you always gotta play that one where got me like? I'm gonna live to regret the day I recorded that. Cold brew got me like. So
I tried to impersonate it last week. It didn't go so well.
unbelievable. So you're
years
telling
later-
me that people were so into bowling. It's kind of like, so bowling was the original internet because people were so busy bowling, they wouldn't go to archery practice.
Right.
And now humanity won't go to archery practice because they're too busy looking at fucking Instagram.
It says years later,
metaphorically.
King Henry VIII would ban bowling again for everyone but the upper crust. It had supposedly infatuated the working class so much that they were neglecting their trades and impeding the financial progress of their countries.
Fuck yeah, bowling is more powerful than I realized.
By the time bowling was introduced to the United States during the colonial era, it had developed a rapport with the common man.
Hast thou bowleth?
Knickerbockers, built in New York in 1840, was the United States' first modern indoor bowling alley. Knickerbockers.
Perhaps we should take a breaketh from prayingeth and bowleth.
So that's where the Knicks got their name, probably the Knickerbockers bowling area.
Knickerbocker? That must have been some name of somebody who came over on the fucking Mayflower. That's a pilgrim name. Hello, Friar Knickerbocker. Hello, Friar Knickerbocker. Perhaps when we are done with our prayers, we can bowleth. Not today, Nathaniel. Today it's all praying. Except for me, I'm going to go take a nap.
Less than a year later, 9-pin bowling was banned in several states due to gambling and racketeering.
What about 8-pin? I bet they had a good 8-pin thing going after that. They're like, 9-pin's illegal? How about 8-pin, fuckface?
Enthusiasts added a 10th pin to circumvent the law.
Oh my God, I went up one. I was right.
You were right.
Oh my God. So the 10th pin is like called the renegade pin, probably in bowling. Called like the convict pin.
At the turn of the century, most bowling alleys were tiny, dingy, and frequented solely by men.
Hell yeah.
Rules were sparsely defined, and the game was unregulated without governance.
Sounds like the back house I live in.
But in 1895, Joe Thumb, a restaurateur considered to be the grandfather of modern bowling, pooled together representatives from the local bowling clubs to create the American Bowling Congress.
Fuck.
The organization set in place the rules and equipment used in bowling today.
All right. I want to know, did they always have those fans you could blow on your hand before you throw the ball? I wonder if they had those in those dingy. Probably not. They're like, we need something to dry our hands. That guy was like probably kicked out of the hut, the bowling hut, the boiling. What is it? A boiling hot mud hut they were in of all men.
Well, they were in the Knickerbocker.
Yeah, the Knickerbocker. What was it called? The Knickerbocker what?
It just said Knickerbockers, built in 1840.
Hell yeah! You guys want to go over to Knickerbockers? It's all men. It's all men. There's no hand things. They should really have a dryer for your hands. My hand gets real wet when I'm in there.
So bowling leagues proliferated, and then with a working man image and promotion by the U.S. Armed Forces, bowling became a $1 billion industry by 1945.
Wow, 1945, that's a huge fucking industry.
That is.
$1 billion. That's like Pornhub now.
Major technological advancements streamlined the sport and made it more accessible. Pin setters, young boys who literally stood behind the bowling pins and set them back up after each roll, were replaced by machines by the mid-1930s. Likewise, wooden balls were ousted for more dynamic plastic models.
Fuck. That means that people complained about it like in the 50s. They were like, man, I miss the days of the wooden balls and the real boys.
The pin
Grandfather, be quiet. I remember at the Knickerbocker, it was so hot. It was all men. And I just remember bowling was half about suffering and half about conquest. Now it's all about conquest. It's not the good. There has to be punishment. There cannot be just conquest. Grandfather, you're gonna have to leave the bowling alley. I miss the days of the Knickerbocker when it was hot and it was all men and the pin setters were boys, not these robots.
Brother, I've been hitting people with sticks
Sounds like
my
today,
whole
right?
life.
I remember when the pin setters, you could have a conversation with them and say, do you like pin setting? But now they're machines. You could have a beer with the pin setters. I used to play jacks with the pin setters.
From the 1940s to the 1970s, bowling saw a golden age in the sports professionals where it's unbridled kingpins.
When was this?
The 1940s to the 70s.
Okay, yeah. So today we're going to look at some bowling from the 70s. Yeah, when it was like you could make a living on the bowling circuit.
Oh, we've got some to look at.
Oh, we've got a picture of a bowling. I forgot we were supposed to have this up the whole time.
Yeah, let's see it.
I found that picture. Because I really enjoyed sitting underneath the giant videotape.
Yeah. Next show, we should include some classic footage of bowling, though. There's some I've got the whole fucking. Are you ready to watch some bowling and forget? I want to see some bowling. Yeah.
All right, fuck action bowling. Then we'll talk about action bowling some other time.
Bowling. We can mention it later in the show.
I like everything. It becomes gambling.
Talking so much bowling right now. I got to see some bowling.
All right, let's see some bowling. Let's let it rip.
The scoring continued red hot this week, and from the more than 250 who started the week, the top 5 bowlers remain to compete for the $15,000 top prize. Today on the Pro Bowlers Tour, it's the $100,000 Rolaids Open. In match number 1 in 5th place, looking for his first PBA title, Dan Roche. He'll meet Mal Acosta, who stroked one of 7 300 games this week. The winner of this match meets the 3rd place bowler with 1 PBA title, Guppy Troup.
Oh, my.
This match winner faces 9-year veteran with 16 PBA titles, Mark Roth. And the winner of this match bowls for the championship against the tournament leader with 8 PBA titles, Marshall Holman. Today on the Pro Bowlers Tour.
I probably watched this live.
This was 70.
Yes, and now here we are.
I think
Florissant,
you were 6.
Missouri,
You could have.
about 15 miles from the
Okay,
arch
so
in
please pause it
downtown
real quick. Okay, so I was watching this last night, and obviously the eureka moment was when Guppy Troup came on the screen. Now, I've looked up Guppy Troup. Guppy Troup is like a legend. Guppy Troup has a son named Kyle Troup who's trying to do the same thing, like 30 years too late. It's too bad. You know, he's a flamboyant bowler who's trying to emulate his dad's hairstyle. So Kyle Troup is like a guy but it's like, yeah, you can't do this again. There's never going to be a time where you're going to be a bowler and be powerful. But also, Rolaids. It's sponsored by Rolaids.
Well,
sponsored. Like, there's no Rolaids Stadium now.
Rolaids were used for a lot of shit back then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And a bigger market.
What kind of landscape were we looking at medically back then? I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is? No one knew how to eat right. Everybody had heartburn nonstop. Because as far as they were concerned, it was like, how many chili dogs did you have today? Wow, 6. And he's like, why the fuck are you having so many chili dogs? Well, what other foods are there? I'll have a chili dog and an orange soda, I guess. Is there any other food there, in the world?
Yeah, so, I mean, people smoked and they drank a lot more and ate chili dogs.
And they just thought it was a fact of life. They're like, well, how do you make it stop while they're smoking?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I'm drinking as much schnapps as I can, and I'm smoking as much as I can, and it's still bothering me. I mean,
that's why these guys were not athletes.
No, so everything that every sponsor of bowling things back then were like, like laxatives and fucking Rolaids and like, other things like, I don't know, motor parts, like things you can do to take your mind off your heartburn, like drive your car fast, like motor oil. Like it was just like barbecue tools.
Well, you weren't going to live as long back then either. So, it's more of a party fast and die young.
I just think it's so funny that Rolaids is the sponsor. I mean, kills me. It's like, what else could be? Yeah, like venereal disease cream or something. You know what I mean? Like, like gonorrhea and the gonorrhea. What's the name for a gonorrhea ointment? That doesn't matter. Let's watch a little more bowling.
Yes, and now here we are in Florissant, Missouri, about 15 miles from the Arch in downtown St. Louis. And for the 7th year now, we've come back to popular Dick Weber and his lanes. Total of 32 inside. It's very warm, but here in St. Louis yesterday, near 10 below. It's beautiful outside, but our scoring here has been incredibly high. As I mentioned earlier, 7 300 games, many over 270. And one of the 300 games was bowled by a member of the Burton family, Neil, who was on our telecast last week. And now here's his bigger brother, who didn't do too badly this week, 12th place, Nelson Burton Jr. in his own hometown.
Thank you, Chris.
They love you here.
I hope so.
Okay, pause it real quick. I've watched a few of these last night when I was trying to pick which bowling show, which bowling tournament to show, and they never give this guy his own microphone. I don't understand why he has to share a microphone. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. This guy, for some reason, on the right, demands that he be the only one with a microphone, and this poor sap has to use it. I don't know why. They're not doing a duet.
Right, but the guy on the right is a master of his craft.
I guess so, but they don't. I don't know what his qualifications are. If we had a longer show, if we were doing like a 3-hour show, we could dive into the backgrounds of every single person on this show. Maybe we'll do that next week. But I would like to know. I'm assuming the guy on the right's a former professional bowler.
Yeah, and I mean his dulcet tone is what made my Saturday afternoon just hum with brightness and cheer. I was like, it's the weekend. I got my candy. I'm going to listen to this guy talk. There's going to be some competition. Yeah, I love this guy's voice.
I like his voice too. He's like the Don Williams. If anyone's familiar with country music, he's like the Don Williams of bowling. Yeah, he gives it a sort of like class. He sounds like he has a professorial sort of tone that makes it seem like a classy thing instead of there's people clearly having razor fights, probably 50 yards away from where these guys are talking. Yeah, there's people jacked up against the lockers.
Well, apparently, bowling went into a downturn in the 2000s or something. So this announcer and the wide world of sports had a lot to do with building this world. Anyway. Yeah,
and if anyone has a lead on one of those jackets, they must have made quite a few of them. If anyone in the chat wants to send me a cold brew got me like ABC Sports yellow blazer, I'll send you the Canaries back.
Canaries!
But anyway, yeah, so like while these guys are trying to class it up and act like, I can't believe people, if you look at the crowd for this bowling tournament, a lot of people came in ties and stuff. They dressed up to go to the bowling tournament. I mean, talking about a different time. This was not that long ago. This was during our lifetimes. And look at the difference in culture. Now it's just it's just Kim Kardashian's ass cheeks bouncing off of everybody's face now. Whereas this was the old way was blazers and people dressing up to go to the bowling alley. The loss of the middle class and the rise of porn has decimated at least bowling. Let me put it that way. I'm not going to go too big with this, but anyway, I love this though, that these guys are trying to act like this is like a sophisticated sport when there's like a couple guys like getting jacked up against the lockers and there's like white powder falling on the floor. He's like, if you come near my sister one more time, I don't care how many 300 games you've bowled, motherfucker. I'll fucking rip your head off. It's quiet. The tournament's going on. Anyway, I just think it's funny that these guys are so. I feel like bowling alleys had to have been surrounded by crime. Anyway, go ahead.
As you said, we did have the highest scores of the year, but interestingly enough, it was the players who were the most consistent that made the top 5. And
but your condition, you were the child of a well-to-do family and educated.
The top
there's some errors on this thing.
It'll be a bit
this is reported off.
Cold brew got me like.
Mark Roth, who did bowl 299
and tumbled.
Okay.
The afternoon, and a tournament leader, Mark Roth, who rolled
what
a 300
I'm going to tell you also is like,
so
everybody in this tournament
scores are high, and anything can happen
is a sex offender.
Now, we have a little bit of a jinx with the tournament leader, and Marshall Holman is at the top again, 0 for 5 in winning this event, 79.
Well, the tournament leader has struggled, but it makes a difference, I think, when the scores are high, in that I think Holman can find the line in a few practice balls he has before the final match, and he possibly could break that jinx here.
Okay, Bo, and ladies and gentlemen, in the purse of $150 $1,000.
Look at
This
Bo
is
without
where
his
it breaks down
microphone.
15,
No
8,
microphone for Bo.
6, 5, and 4. We'll be back with that first match.
Rolaids
Dan Roche,
open.
Malacosta after this.
And that dulcet tone announcer was definitely a smoker.
Oh yeah, he's like, God damn it! I thought that segment was never gonna end. Where are my Pall Malls?
AMF, the maker of Magic Score automatic
And that, that speaks of his athleticism.
He's like, as long as I'm living, that kid will never have a microphone.
By the 1,000 Midas
champion
from
bowler,
coast to coast, who say when it comes to
Midas,
your
here are the sponsors. Midas.
size. And by Rolaids.
Cold
Fucking Rolaids.
got me
It
1978. The world was revolved around heartburn and carbs. And that's a real graphic. You'd think that was some kind of joke. I mean, it's beautiful.
How does America spell?
Oh, it's got the ads too.
Yes,
Which I thought might be
in the
fun.
St. Louis area. In our first match, Dan Roche going against Mal Acosta. Acosta of Fremont, California. Roche, who will be shooting first, a 35-year-old 6-footer.
It was
now
a
bowling
requirement
out of
that these
Downey,
people have
California.
mustaches.
Left
to
lane,
compete.
first shot.
Look at that guy's hair.
Left
Oh,
the 10
fuck.
pin
Like,
on the left
In
blue
pro
lane.
bowling, if you get a 9, you're like an idiot.
As you can see, Danny averaged 231.
It's really funny.
only
It's like
first
they're
fifth.
so mad if they don't get a strike. It's
You know
like
the scores
this,
were
all
high.
the rest is just bullshit. He's like, fuck.
Dick Weber Lanes, Florissant, Missouri, suburb of
You think he
Louis.
fucks? Did you say
For a
that?
long
Can
time,
people hear
it's
you
been
talking
one
now,
of the
Eric?
bowling capitals of the
I
world.
think Dan
Oh.
Roche fucks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, did you just come on and say that?
So it's a spare.
Okay,
for
don't talk unless you're
Dan
talking
Roche.
on the show because I don't know what's happening. But that's okay. I'm not mad.
We have
It
two
sounded mad.
first-time, bowlers on
So
national television.
I just didn't know. Yeah, so Dan Roche fucks. Yeah, sure. Malacosta, on the other hand, is running from the law. Another one.
This week.
Look at that man. He looks like he's got that alcoholic skinniness.
Strike in the first frame, first game.
You know,
This is a side hustle for him.
everybody in this room watching this match is like, I shouldn't have had so much to drink last night. Everybody, every single person. The cameraman's like, fuck. Happens to me every time I'm in this town. God damn it. I should never have gone over to the Rusty Buccaneer or whatever the fucking local bar is. I can't believe I went over to the fucking hen house last night. I could barely hold this fucking camera. I can't believe I went to the one-eyed. What's the name of the local bar in Florissant, Missouri? Let's pause it and guess. Let's see if the power directors in the chat have any ideas. So where did the cameraman who is filming this bowling tournament, who can barely hold the camera because his arms are so slippery from his fucking alcohol sweat, where did he go last night and have way too many Tom Collinses? Where did he go? I'm going to say he went to the spotted lady, or the one-eyed pelican. No, what's happening in Missouri? Like the tractor stop or something, or the tractor pit stop for tractors? Or
The Eagle's Nest?
what is it? The Eagle's Nest?
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. God damn it, every time I'm in this town, I can't help it. The guy over at the Eagle's Nest is so nice, and he loves camera people. He buys just so many drinks. He loves camera people. He says he's really interested.
Hey,
He said he can't believe camera people are in his town, Florissant. He said he can't believe it. So then, you get excited and you feel a warm feeling for this guy. And next thing you know, it's fucking 7 o'clock in the morning and you're drinking Harvey Wallbangers on a roof.
Seabury Buddy says it's called Fast Eddies.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
Fast
that's a good
Eddie,
one.
Fast Eddie loves camera people. So I always go in there. He likes to ask about the exposures and how long the lens should be open and stuff. But next thing you know, we're shooting dice on the roof of a laundromat. It's 7:30 and the tournament starts at 10. Fast Eddie. So everybody here at this place, especially this guy Mal Acosta, which is not a real name because he's running from something. Look at that middle part. I would have been so out of business in 1978 as a bald man. I mean, what would you do if you're a bald man? You'd probably just spray hairspray directly on your scalp just to be part of the crowd. You know what I mean? I mean, if you weren't spraying aerosol all over your head in the men's locker room, what would you be anyway? I just can't believe. And also, as we watch this, remember that people like Malacosta are like 25 years old. Back then, looking old was like desirable. I bet you anything Malacosta is like 19. This guy. He looks like he's 45 years old. But that's what was it. They were going for that.
I wonder why you didn't see too many bald bowlers.
There probably were some. I don't know. Maybe they made it part of the audition. Like, you're not going on TV. I don't care how high you score unless you got a pretty good perm on you.
Maybe people were less bald back then.
Probably the further you get from the Mayflower, the balder people got.
Yeah.
Everybody on the Mayflower had a big mane.
It's all the chemicals. They're building up.
Everybody on the Mayflower looked like fucking Buzzo from the Melvins.
That's true.
I cannot wait till we get to Shoreth so we can bowleth.
They definitely had wooden balls back then.
I hope the balls are woodeneth and the pin setters are boyseth.
Should I go back to that description of the type of bowling we were talking about?
I don't know, Eric. Why don't you check in with the power directors real quick and see how they're holding up with all this?
Yeah, not much. Elder Zeitgang says that it's lead poisoning that contributed to the voluminous hair of the 1970s.
That's a funny idea. That's probably true. Everybody was deranged and idiotic, but they had giant heads of hair. The lead made them insane, but had beautiful, beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh yeah.
No?
Jim City Record Collector says that all these bowlers, they look like they're members of a jazz rock fusion band.
They probably all, I'm sure they all played some kind of instrument, at least part way. Like, they probably played a little bass. Probably played like Aerosmith covers, some horrendous shit like that. Probably played like a little bit of they probably all knew how to play Dream On bass.
Well, anyway,
all popping Rolaids in practice.
Well,
Anybody else have heartburn? Yeah, we all do. I don't know why. All I had was pastrami and schnapps, like I always do.
So action bowling, this is what you were talking about earlier that I said I wanted to see bowling. It describes it as in New York from the 40s to the 70s, which is the golden age for bowling as we know. There also existed a lucrative underbelly to the sport called action bowling. Working class Italians from boroughs across the city would frequent bowling alleys and challenge each other to matches for money. Events would often start at midnight and go till 7 a.m. Action bowling legend Mike Limongello explains exactly what this entailed. We would go out late at night. Every night of the week, there was a place to go, and the action would start right after the leagues were over. Everyone would match up from bowl for money, and there was a lot of street money in those days.
Street money. Hit that cold brew got me like metal style.
Brew got me. You got to find out about street money, fools.
Limongello said when he first started out in the early 1960s, he'd be bowling for $200 to $300 per game. As he got better, he was pulling in $1,500 a game as a 17-year-old kid. I learned to bowl for money from an early age, he says. It wasn't just about the bowling, it was about the action.
What is that? What does that mean? Action. I know what it means. It just means like the action. Yeah, like fucking just yelling and
the ladies, the chicks.
Yelling and smoking and the women and the women, but the women, women were probably at home. They probably never went near the bowling alley. The women probably were like, steer clear of the fucking.
No, women were attracted to that machismo.
You think so?
Probably, yeah.
Well, there was a lot of machismo. There's no doubt. Emphasis on cheese. These guys were fucking.
Winked at all the she-dogs.
Women probably thought men came with mustaches back then. Like they thought they had to be removed. You're like,
I know. When I was 16, and when Mom and Mrs. Rose dropped me off at the bowling alley, I was all machismo. I was all macho. Was smoking. That was the main reason we went to the bowling alley, was to be macho when we were like 16.
It's true. I mean, there's something about picking up heavy balls, dirty balls, big, dirty balls. I mean, I felt pretty good in the bowling alley. I felt pretty manly. I mean, certainly more manly than I felt like.
You had control of your environment. You rented your shoes, you got your ball, you controlled the lanes.
You had control of your environment.
You dried your hands.
Oh my God. Oh fuck. Yes, it's true. I never, and me and Greg grew up in the same family. We are people who do not feel like we're in control of our environment ever. And that's true. In the bowling alley, you know what to do. You know your job. You have the equipment. Yeah, no one really cares unless you're an action bowler from the 1970s, whether you're doing well or not. It's just about getting the ball down the lane, maybe standing up next to the snack bar for a little bit, maybe checking out the vending machines. Stuff that it's under control. Yeah. It's under control. You know what to do.
If this lane was waxed more, I could really get my ball down the lane like it should. But
yeah. I wonder if in action bowling there must have been a lot of like hitting people with balls. You know what I mean? There must have been a tremendous amount of people just conking each other in the head with balls when they turned around.
Bowling historian Gianmark Manzoni describes a typical action bowling scene from the 60s.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The carpet soaked up the reek of gamblers' cigars as handlers penciled their debts on the score table. The dark bowling alleys bred their share of conmen and clowns with nicknames like Goldfinger, Tony Sideweight, and One Finger Benny.
One Finger Benny?
See, I told you that chicks were attracted to this type of place.
I'm attracted to it. I wish I was there. My life is so shitty. What happened? Why are we in this shitty life? Why aren't we fucking hanging around with nicknames like One Finger and fucking Smoky Carpet? Why are we stuck in this antiseptic world of fucking tweeting and fucking liking things when we could be on the streets smoking and dying?
These gambling events
wearing plaid. Look at this guy's pants.
Yeah,
he's
it was
serious. He's not zany. He's fucking just doing it. He's just doing it. He's just peacocking.
You probably have to wear your pinky ring on your left hand, like your non-bowling hand.
Malacosta had to go through heavy negotiations. He didn't want to be on camera. He's like, is there a way I can be in the finals without being on camera? They're like, why? It's like, some shit going on. I don't know if you've ever heard of action bowling, but there are about 4 people who'd like to rip my fucking head off. Is there someone who put a black cube over my face on the camera? There's no way. All right, I guess I'll take my chances. But there's this guy named One Finger. God, I fucking knocked him out with a bowling ball because he won. He won the match, and I gave him the $1,000, but then he turned around and I hit him with a bowling ball as hard as I fucking could, and then I moved. I moved out of the state.
I moved out of the county.
Yeah, so now he's going to see me on TV. Is there some way you can put those, like even just a rectangle over my eyes?
Indeed, these gambling events attracted more than the best bowlers. Mobsters often got in on the bets and threw down huge wads of cash, quote unquote, on their favorites for the evening, often placing local bowlers in hairy situations. In one instance, bowler Iggy Russo fixed his match and bet a ton of money on his opponent to win. During his last frame, in which he was positioned to either win or lose the match with a spare, he learned that some unsavory characters were betting on him to win. He was caught in a catch-22. If he won, his financial backer would kill him. If he missed the spare, the unsavory characters would. Instead, he avoided the entire predicament by faking a heart attack.
Now that's a Friday night.
Cold Brew got me like.
What's a Friday night now? Netflix? Give me a fucking break. I was born at the wrong time. I should have been dead a long time ago behind a bowling alley.
Lenny the Cane, another action bowling character, recalls going from making $55 a week as a working-class New Yorker to making thousands as Iggy's bowling partner in crime.
Iggy?
Yeah. Iggy Russo.
Iggy Russo. I dare any hipster name their kid Iggy Russo instead of like Airplane Johnson or whatever these hipsters name their kids.
Yeah, Aiden.
Earhart Johnson. How about you name him Guppy? What's his name? Guppy
Upton. This is his name, Guppy Upton.
I don't know, but this guy, Malacostas.
Lenny the Cane was this action bowler who was Iggy's bowling partner. Quote, I was bowling pretty good, and out of the crowd of a couple hundred at 3 a.m. comes Iggy and asks to be my partner. I said, okay, Iggy. Walks out at the end of the night with $3,500, and his partner in crime, who's in the back betting both ways, makes $10,000. That night, Iggy and his partner made $12,000.
Fuck. You got to make that kind of money now. You got to do a GoFundMe.
That's like $50,000 in today's terms.
Back then, instead of a GoFundMe, you just action bowled. That's how you paid your medical bills. But what do you want to do to pay how are you going to pay your medical bills? Well, since GoFundMe hasn't been invented, I guess I'm going to action bowl.
Yeah, or you didn't have medical bills because you had insurance that worked. And
but you know what kind of medical bills you had? Like you had to have a fucking bowling pin removed from your ass because Iggy put one there. You know how many people in like fucking New Jersey must have had bowling pins surgically removed from their butt cheeks when they had fucking action bowling was happening? Imagine how many pieces of bowling equipment were removed from action bowlers' butt cheeks. Fucking those hand grip things, necklaces, fucking aerosol cans, mustaches. Oh my God, they shoved this action bowler's mustache up his ass.
This is what you're talking about. It was an era in which cockiness, trickery, and flamboyance factored in as much as skill. Ernie Schlegel, an action bowling legend, would pour a shot of bourbon down his shirt before every match he bowled. He'd walk in reeking of alcohol, leading his opponent to believe he was drunk and take it easy. Then Schlegel would proceed to crush his unwitting foe.
Fuck, that happened to me a couple times.
Cold brew got me like.
Except it was at the arcade with Pac-Man. This guy came in. I thought he was stinking drunk. He put down 20 on a Pac-Man game.
And so this sort of tells the story of how action bowling became the PBA. As Manzioni explains, big-time action bowlers would bust through the doors and announce their intent to challenge anyone in the room. They'd be looking for fish or easy money opponents who thought too highly of their skills. But after some time, it got tough for the top bowlers to find willing challengers. They were simply too good. Manzioni says this caused a domino effect where big-name bowlers would leave the unorganized, hectic bowling scene for the PBA. In Mike Lemongello's case, once word spread about his skill, there was no one left for him to fool.
Yeah, plus he probably got tired of fucking having bowling pins surgically removed from his ass. I mean, how many fucking, there's so many weapons in a fucking, if people are betting high stakes and there's mobsters running around named Iggy Russo, you imagine how many people are getting hit? I bet somebody got put through the actual pin setting machine and probably set up like a bowling pin. Like the shredded remains of the human. Like there were a bunch of bowling pins and then one person that a mobster put through the bowling machine. And they called it like pin setting. You know what I mean? You want to get pin set, motherfucker? They're like, oh no, that's the worst. They put you in the pin machine. Yeah, they throw you, or the gutter ball. That's what they did. I bet mobsters just throw a person right down the gutter ball chute.
The gutter ball is when you get your head in the gross toilet, probably.
Oh well, that's
in the toilet.
Oh, that's a sex position. But yeah, the gutter ball would be. Yeah, I would think a mobster. There had to have been in the 60s and 70s people going into the gutter ball chute and coming out as a pin. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I mean,
gruesome way to go too. There's like just tremendous amount of blood pouring out of the pin setter, and just like a bone column. like one of the worst ways to die is going through a pin setter.
It doesn't let up.
So,
yes, sir.
Who was it that said it? It was I can't remember who said it, but see,
check in with the chat with
guy
Eric
in this gray shirt. This is
yes.
Evidently it is
Steve Jobs.
Evidently it is noted Area 51 employee Bob Lazar. That comes from.
That does look like Bob
the
Lazar.
gray sweatshirt right here. Also, it's Guppy Troup, guys. How could you? Kitten Chop says it's Guppy Troup. How could you forget legendary Guppy Troup? I don't understand.
Wait a second. Who the guy in the gray shirt in this frozen frame here is somebody special?
He's not really. This person's making a joke about
Oh.
Bob Lazar is this UFO guy who says he worked at Area 51. And that could be, that could be him, but everybody looked like Bob Lazar back then. Look at that guy's shirt. Look at fucking Mal. What's his name again? Mal what? Mal Acosta. That's his name. Mal Acosta. Look at Mal Acosta's shirt. That man was being taken seriously in that shirt. That wasn't a shirt he was wearing to some 70s party. That was a shirt. That was when you put on a shirt and you meant it.
Well, he
That's
clearly
when you
was
come in a
part
room
of.
and you say, "This man means business. Look at that shirt."
Yeah,
It's not some old Navy thing.
He came up through action bowling, clearly.
Yeah, fucking people at action bowling, you get thrown out of if you wore anything like people wear now, any of that old Navy tiny shirts and tiny little blazers, you'd get fucking thrown straight down the gutter and you'd be pin set. There's no way. If your shirt wasn't fucking loud and proud back then, you might as well forget it. Look at that fucking shirt. Look at that body posture. That man is raw sex. But I do think that women back then in this period, 1978, I bet women expected their babies, if they were men babies, to be born with a mustache. I bet women did not know mustaches could ever come off. They're like, yeah, sometimes I wish men didn't have mustaches. What are you talking about, Rhonda? Well, the fact that they all have mustaches is sort of a bummer. Sometimes I wish I could see a man's upper lip. Rhonda,
I think it's interesting that action bowling.
I've never met an action bowler that didn't have a mustache.
I think it's interesting the connection between action bowling and working class Italians.
Right, the disappearance of the middle class. This is a middle class pageant. This is a middle class pageant. Freeze it right there. Well, looking at that audience, these towns that the bowling tour came through, Florissant, Missouri. I looked through all these other towns, like the places these bowling tournaments stop. These towns are all like OxyContin wastelands now. These were thriving communities built around manufacturing. They're all gone. I can guarantee you almost all these bowling alleys where these professional bowling tournaments from back then happened are gone. And I bet that lady right there, you see that lady? I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me. The lady that's Bob Dylan. That's Gordon. Oh my God, that's Gordon Lightfoot to the right of that man in that orange jacket. That's Gordon Lightfoot in the audience. This is a celebrity packed audience here. But I bet you everybody in that tableau right there, I bet all their fucking lives went down the tubes once manufacturing went away, and all their relatives are probably all fucking drug zombies now. That's an overstatement, but it's not really. This is when you could have you had a job at a factory, you made $20 an hour, you maybe got some benefits, and you fucking had a culture. And also there was no culture. There was no Instagram to make you think your culture sucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no Instagram to say like your little culture sucks. Like, now you would look at it and you'd be like, oh, our bowling alley subculture sucks because look, somebody else is on a huge yacht or whatever. But back then nobody cared. They were just happy to be in a bowling alley and have a nice hairdo.
Well, also that freeze frame there speaks to this, how people want to be entertained. Look, they're just ready to watch this guy bowl.
Yeah, and they're having a good time. They probably know him. They probably know him through a friend, and it's like a village. It's a little village. I bet all these people know each other in some way.
They went
probably
bowling. They worked. They got time to go down. They went to church, and then they can go to the bowling match and get some good entertainment. Yeah,
and they were like, back then, like schools were. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Cold brew
back then schools were, it was before schools had like classrooms. Somehow now schools being underfunded means that classrooms have like 50 people in them.
That seems like the bowler fashion is very closely related to golf fashion, at least at this point.
Yeah. Except a bowler and a golfer would eye each other with suspicion. I'm sure there was action golfing, though, and people getting fucking golf clubs shoved up their asses. I just think there was a lot more hand-to-hand contact before phones. You couldn't call the police. You had to fight. If you didn't have a phone and the bowling alley manager, there was no cell phones. So if the bowling alley manager was on the phone, you couldn't call the police. So you just had to fight it out in the locker room. Or, you get hit. If you had a fight in the pro shop, there was nowhere to go. You just had to bang people's heads off of the displays.
Yeah, now people just rely on 911 now. They don't fight it out.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. All the action would have been removed from bowling. It would have just been called bowling if there were cell phones. It would have just been called 911 bowling.
Yeah, it's a trigger warning. It just didn't exist. You just had to fight it out.
That was it.
Well, I got a switchblade.
It was all based on the pins. Now it's a 911 culture.
I'm going to get a blue raspberry slushie and fight to the death.
That's exactly right. That's the way it's supposed to be. All right. Well, I think we've gone too far. So this is we're going to take a look at Guppy Troup real quick, and then we're going to end the show. And thank you all for tuning in, and please subscribe, and we'll be back next week. But let's watch a little Guppy Troup just for a couple minutes here. Can you take it back to? Let's see him throw the ball. And I want to look. He's got gold shoes. Guppy Troup, unbelievable. Can we get some audio on it?
Guppy gets away with it.
Guppy gets away with it. That's the name of this episode. So tune in.
Junior bowling.
Guppy gets away with it.
He looks like that guy from that '70s show, that actor.
Fishes.
Oh yeah, that guy's on trial for finally on trial for rape.
Junior bowler.
Terrible note to end the show on. Pinky ring! Oh my God! Look at that.
Than all the other pros. Look at how that.
No Old Navy.
Got his nickname in junior.
Why is he? How can he wear shades and bowls?
He's explaining his nickname. Can you just take it back for a second?
Foul line. That's not recommended.
Here we go.
Guppy gets away with it.
Troup got his nickname in junior bowling. Had a league where the teams were named for fishes. So he did all right. He won the state title with his teammates as a junior bowler.
Won his first PBA title last fall.
Cold brew got me like.
All right, well, that's not as exciting as I was hoping. I was hoping it was something a little more exciting.
Just ran away from the field in the 42 games.
And now here's Guppy.
All right, well, you guys, maybe, Eric, we can do a soundbite of Guppy Gets Away With It, because that'd be a fun thing to play on the show as a soundbite. There's a big essay on the what does that say there? That big long essay on the what do you call it? Fucking chat.
Elder Zeit Gang. I have fond memories of the suburban bowling alley where me and my junior high pals hung out in the early 80s. Manoa Lanes in Havertown, PA. They had some good stand-up arcade games like Joust, the game where medieval knights riding ostriches faced off.
Yeah.
Hey.
That game's a documentary.
Also,
medieval knights were always riding around on ostriches.
Seaberry Buddy in the chat is convinced that his grandmother, what may have been in the audience, but she bowled regularly at that bowling alley. Fact. Science fact.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, that's a great note to end it on. I'm glad everybody's having a nice time.
I have one more thing to say.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Why does Guppy wearing shades? You can't play sports with shades on.
Because there were no apps back then. You couldn't get laid unless you had cool shades and a pinky ring and stuff, and you're not going to take off your shades ever, because what if you run into the woman of your dreams and you're not wearing your shades?
How can you see the spare properly if you got shades on?
It doesn't matter. You got to suffer for sex. Guppy was just suffering for sex. Yeah, he probably would have been a much better bowler. He's like, my career could have been 10 times the career it was, but I was never taking those shades off. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been Cold Brew Got Me Like on June 1st, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks to Greg. Thanks to Eric Wilson. Thanks to John Burr.
Hello, it's me.